Germany in action earlier on for the first time in the tournament. If ever there was a David versus Goliath affair, it was this game. The four-time champion up against Curaçao, the smallest nation to ever make it to a World Cup, a nation of 156,000 folks. 7-1 the final score. Curaçao did score their first ever World Cup goal. They did level the game, and that's where I want to get the thoughts of our World Cup champion here on the show. Jürgen Klinsmann joining us now. Jürgen, great to have you with us. Kev alongside Ale and Nedum. Were you at all a little bit nervous, just a little bit, when Curaçao leveled it?
No, I was not a little bit nervous, not at all. But I mean, you feel for Curaçao, no? I mean, when they equalized that game, I mean, you're happy for them. You know that it will last maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. But you feel for them and you're happy for them because they are obviously the first time ever in a World Cup and they scored their first goal ever in a World Cup. So that's fantastic. I thought overall they gave everything they had. They're absolutely not a bad team, but Germany took care of business. I would call it this way. I mean, they were focused. They had positive body language. They were encouraging each other. I liked really the energy that they brought to the field. And obviously one goal came out, rolled in after another. I'm happy for Harvard to start the tournament with two goals already. I'm super happy that Musiala got already into the tournament and scored a goal. They're looking good. I mean, it's obviously it's not Ivory Coast or Ecuador they played, and they know that. But it was a very professional performance. Very focused and positive, and now they can look forward to meet the Ivory Coast, and that's going to be a whole different ball game.
It's so true. Focused and positive. They've won 10 straight games now, the Germans. Yet Robbo and Craig sat here earlier on today and said they're not contenders in this World Cup. Is there anything about what you saw today that would suggest otherwise, Ali?
First of all, when you say Robo and Craig, that's two very angry guys. Right? Okay? This is a night crew. It's a different feel about this crew, all right? And not nearly as angry.
He says angrily.
Yes. Let me just address this game for a second. This is sort of match in which if Miroslav Klose was on the field, instead of having a bunch of guys scoring goals today, he would score all 7 and then ends up as the leading goal scorer in the World Cup. And we all ask ourselves
the question.
2002
against Saudi Arabia.
This sort of thing. And you think of what Germany was today when the game was relatively close, not when it was 6-7-1, but when it was relatively close. What I liked the rotation and player interchange in the attacking half. I like the freedom of movement of Florian Wirtz and the combinations with Jamal Musiala. The couple of touches that Florian Wirtz, one of them ends up in the layoff to Emecha when he scores the first goal. Then there's a couple of through balls that he plays to Leroy Sané that should have been goals that were not. But that freedom of movement that he has makes him a different player for Germany than what he was for Liverpool this whole season. And Mecha, I thought, was very active and overpowering players in the midfield. But I still think, to the point that perhaps Stewie and Craig were making earlier, there are certain things and certain areas about Germany that concern me. In the midfield, they're a number short, structurally speaking. Because in Mecha, he's going to go and join in the attack, which then means that Pavlovic has to cover a whole lot of ground defensively. That does not get exposed against Curaçao, but it may get exposed by other teams. And the problem is that one of the guys that could be top-end, elite-level midfielders for you is playing as a right back. Mm-hmm. And he's not a right back. And again, he may not get exposed against Curaçao, but if you have anybody that has some sort of speed going against Kimmich on that right-hand side, he's going to get exposed. Believe me when I tell you, I can recognize players that struggle with speed. I did that for the length of my career, right? I know when somebody struggles with speed, and Kimmich is a guy that struggles with speed. Now, it's not his fault that he's being put out there in that position, but when he gets isolated against somebody that can run at him, they're going to have issues there. And they're going to have issues in the midfield because you have Wirtz floating over here, you have Musiala floating over here, you have Emecha pushing forward, being also floating somewhere top of the 18-yard box. They lose the ball, now it's Pavlovic chasing the world. I'm just saying, not exposed against Curaçao, but it may be later in this competition.
So I'm going to see it slightly differently.
All right,
And what I'm going to say is, as far as Germany played in this game, it was suited to this match itself. I wouldn't be surprised if Nagelsmann has a different plan for the different games that come ahead. I think that's the skill that he will have as a coach, and those players themselves will understand that, yes, you can play Pavlovic and Mecha in that midfield area for this game. I think if there's a game which requires more in there, I think he'll play more in there. I think whether he throws in a Goretzka to play alongside him, for example, or other players, or maybe even Kimmich goes in there and they put somebody else in at right back, I think he's going to be adaptable like that. But also, this is the thing that's most important to me, which is sort of like the way we love and hate football. The stats that we've put out for this game here are almost exactly the same as the Switzerland versus Qatar game. One game finished 1-1, one finished 7-1. So we're trying to find like a negative in terms of how this Germany game went, but in reality they did the job that was required of them.
I'd love to get the thoughts of Jürgen really quickly.
Just a quick thought. It's just, I did not find the negative. I was asked if this was a team that was going to win this thing. This is
and
Kevin's
then you
fault.
Talking about their problem.
It's Kevin's fault.
Okay, yeah, sorry, Kevin,
Go on.
Yeah.
Jürgen, to Nedum's point about Julian Nagelsmann and his managing of this situation, preparing for later on in the tournament, what do you think?
Oh, absolutely. He has plan B, plan C, plan D. You know, if it doesn't work out or if the threat is too much coming over the left wing from an opponent, whoever that is, and Kimmich would maybe possibly struggle, then with the speed, he has definitely the plan B to move Kimmich into the 6th role and put a center back to the right position or figure out a different way of doing. I mean, they're going through those scenarios all day long, the coaching staffs. They always think about what if. I think, you know, they know that now with the Ivory Coast or with Ecuador, it's going to be so different because they bring physicality to the table. They are strong, they're provocative, they're nasty in certain ways. So they prepare differently, obviously, for these two opponents than they prepared for Curaçao. But I got to give them a compliment because they took Curaçao seriously. You know, they were in there. I mean, obviously, they scored then the equalizer. They looked a little bit stupid in that moment. But then they took care of business, one goal after another. And they brought, you know, so many players already on the score sheet that helps them, that gives them already confidence, especially a Musiala, especially a Undaf who came in as a sub player. To have them on the score sheet is important. And I mean, for the coaches now, it's really the next 5.5 weeks, if you stay that long in the tournament, obviously until the end, every day, 24/7, you think about those scenarios. What if doesn't work out on that side? What if it doesn't work out in the center pairing? And there, Alejandro has a great point there. It's a new combination there with Mecha then going a little bit too much forward, and Pavlovic then has to cover him up. Then there's the solution possibly that Goretzka comes back in. Obviously, Goretzka and Kimmich are best buddies from Bayern Munich. And if Kimmich shifts then into the 6th role, they know each other inside out. So they have those options on the table, and they can do and utilize them any time of the game. I think important is that now comes a real test in the next game where they figure out, okay, are they also physically ready for the real opponents? And with Ivory Coast, you're going to have that.
Yeah, you certainly are indeed. You mentioned feeling sorry for Curaçao, Jürgen, and also feeling maybe a little stupid conceding a goal to Curaçao. How do you feel about this broadened World Cup tournament, 48 teams and some weaker opposition, that you see a 7-1 score like this at the grandest stage?
No, I mean, we all knew that, you know, there will be some results in the group stage. You know, they are a little bit exaggerated, and you can have that discussion, absolutely. You know, why so many teams now and how it was split then in the different continents, because obviously the European sides, you know, they were kind of the victim of this whole 48-team scenario because they could just add a few ones, and a team like Italy is at home right now.
And Ireland, Jürgen, and Ireland.
I think it's funny. Yeah, Ireland too. But it's also a wonderful opportunity for a country like Curaçao to get on the world map, to see them. I mean, to see their fans coming in the stadium and yeah, they cheered their goal as they would have won the World Cup. And those are very emotional moments and will be forever with this nation, forever with this country. So I feel for them too. Obviously, we can talk about the tournament. Does it dilute the product at the end of the day when you widen it to 48 teams? here and there it might be the case, but I think still it's cute to see those nations in the group stage. And then from the knockout phase on, from the round of 32, then it's going to be serious business.
Yeah, I take what Jürgen is saying, and I know that he means it because he has a loving heart. But had Jürgen been on the field today for Germany playing against Curaçao, this man would have been scoring goals left, right, and center, and he would not have felt sorry for Curaçao. Just say that. I'm just saying.
Facts.
Yeah. No, Alejandro, you're totally right. I mean, I still regret the 90 World Cup. We played a group stage game against the United Arab Emirates, so against the Emirates, and I think it ended also 7-1 or something like that. And I scored a goal, but I missed, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 100% chances. But I did not think, it didn't come up in my mind that actually with one game I can become World Cup top scorer. Easily. and I see still this game in front of my eyes because at the end then Toto Schillaci became best goal-scorer in 1990, and I had only three goals then in a tournament, and I was so mad at myself. I was so angry at myself. So I wish that's why I mentioned it. I want Undav on the score sheet. I want Havertz on the score sheet because get those goals early in the tournament because then they have a chance to be among the top, to be among the Hurricanes, hopefully, at the end of the tournament.
Given the profile of this team, Jürgen, who's starting up front for you if you're the coach? We've talked a lot about Dennis Undav here behind the scenes and the qualities that he has.
Well, it's the favorite topic right now in Germany is definitely, that Julian Nagelsmann loves the false number 9 role of Havertz, The whole Bundesliga, obviously, since Havertz plays in the Premier League, wants to see Undav as a number 9 because he scored 26 goals in the Bundesliga, had a great season, and is a fantastic kid. Me as a traditional more number 9, or in my days we played as 2 number 9s basically in the partnership roles. You want this striker that kind of drives the center backs crazy. And obviously Havertz, he roams around, he comes back in midfield, he goes left, right. So he's a different role. So we have that debate every day with the German journalists and with the German fans. As long as he wins his games, it will not be too heated for Julian Nagelsmann. But as soon as something goes wrong, this will be the discussion, the number 9 role.